Hi, I'm James Barfield with your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated but is never duplicated because of the fact that, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you, uh, this channel, Your Urban Connection, has become the #1 urban video podcast in the state of Kansas. And the reason for that is we don't entertain you, we inform you. Our programming is designed to educate and inform you as to the issues that involve your everyday life and your everyday living. And today is going to be no exception. Today, we're going to talk about, are public schools safe for your little loved ones? Now, the public school districts would probably tell you, yes, they are. But I'm here to tell you, you got to listen to what they say and understand what they don't say. Now, for the last few years, we have seen mass school shootings around the country. And the situation doesn't seem to be getting any better. Now, like any other trend, you will see copycats. And these copycats are finding it, I think, much easier than they expected and much easier than it should be to get guns into these public school buildings. And I want to give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. In the last couple of days, on Monday and Tuesday of this week, two separate high schools in Wichita have found teenagers, 16 to 17-year-olds, easily walking into schools carrying firearms. Now, excuse the pun, but luckily, and I emphasize this, luckily, in these two incidents, the Wichita School District was able to avoid the bullet. Like I said, no pun intended. But they say that they brought this to a safe conclusion. And they will tell you that there was no threat and nobody was hurt. And I say, you're fortunate that you dodged the bullet. Now, what they don't say is, and these are the questions you have to ask and you have to expect to get answers from. What were the motives for these two individuals to walk right through the doors, right into a school building full of students, teenagers? In this particular case, they were both high schools, teenagers, and they walked right in with no questions asked, no nothing. And these schools both are supposed to have SROs patrolling the building. Now, so we've got to find out, because these are the things that they are not telling us. What was the motive? Were these guns loaded? Did they find any ammunition on these individuals? Now, we don't know the answer to those questions. And the other question that we need to have answered, were these test runs of these students to find out how easy it is to carry a gun into a school building, a public school building? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, I'm doing this program today out of concern for your little babies and your little Johnnies and your little Janices. Because let me tell you, In my opinion, they're not safe, and certainly not as safe as you think they are. So let me give you another little indication. On Monday of this week, the same week these two individuals carried guns into schools in Wichita, in Oakland, California, a 12-year-old carried a gun to school and shot a 13-year-old. So look, these are not even high school age students, but it's going on. And these schools want you to believe that they're safe and secure. Listen, after these two incidents in Wichita, the school district issued this. The school said it takes these matters seriously and will not tolerate anything that could potentially harm students or put them in fear. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What are you doing to make it harder and difficult for these teenagers to walk into school carrying or packing heat? What are you doing? And until you can give me a definitive answer on that, I am not going to be convinced to what you said. You're taking these matters seriously. Look, the fact of the matter is, the school districts across the country, not only in Wichita, but across the country, you have got to learn to be proactive, or one day you're going to wake up and be reactive to a mass shooting, a mass killing, or something tragic happening in your schools. And what are you going to say to the parents of these victims? Oh, we're so sorry. We take these matters seriously. And we will not tolerate anything that could potentially harm your little babies or put them in fear. Well, I got news for you. Not only are these little Johnnies and Janices in fear, their parents are in fear. Can you imagine the parents dropping their kids off at your public facility to be educated and maybe 2 or 3 hours later get a phone call from the police department or from school officials saying, you need to hurry up to the school? We've had an incident that could have been prevented, ladies and gentlemen. If these school districts take this so seriously, why is it that you don't have metal detectors at the front and rear entrance to the schools? And there should only be 2 entrances. And both of those should be manned by SROs and a metal detector. Anybody entering with a gun will be detected and arrested for trying or attempting to enter a public school building packing heat. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we have got to learn that we've got to hold these schools accountable before something bad happens. We've got to ensure ourselves, and we have to feel comfortable ourselves that they're doing everything they possibly can do. And I'm not convinced at this date, in this time, they are doing that. And you should not be either. You should be asking questions of, first of all, your school district, your local school boards, and your teachers. You have to find out what's happening. Not only are we putting in harm's way the teachers, the students, the cafeteria employees, anybody else that has reason to be in a public school building during the day, all of these people are at risk. And I'm not convinced, as I said, that the school districts across the country are doing all they can do to keep our babies safe. Your Johnnies and your Janices, or your Judys, or your Marys, your Richards, your Toms, all of those should feel safe in a public school building while they're there. You should feel totally confident when you drop your child off at school in the morning, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, that you're confident you'll be able to come back at 3 or 3:30 and pick little Johnny and little Mary up, and they're safe and sound. You don't want to get a call at 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock noon to rush to the school, drop everything, rush to the school. We've had a tragic accident. Ladies and gentlemen, no, no more. Question your school administrators. You've got to ask questions of your local school board. You've got to ask questions of the school. Anybody that you're putting your child into their situation where they're supposed to keep them safe, they're supposed to look out for little Johnny, little Mary. You've got to find out, what are they doing? Do they have a plan in place to get your children to safety in case a student is found to be in your school building with a gun? Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the school district here says there was no threat and nobody was hurt. Let me explain to you. 99% of the time, when these mass school shootings happen, nobody walks into a school and starts threatening anybody. They walk in and start shooting. Now, in this particular case, we don't even know what kind of gun, what type of weapon either one of these students had. I've not heard anything about what kind of weapon, what kind of gun the 12-year-old had in Oakland, California, that shot a 13-year-old. We don't know. They don't give us answers. And that goes for the police. The police arrested these two individuals at Wichita West High and Wichita Heights, but they've not given us any report. They've not told us anything, again, about what kind of weapon, was the weapon loaded, what were their intentions, what were their motives, were they upset with the teacher, or had they been bullied? We don't know. Did they find any ammunition on them? You see, if you find a cache of bullets, we know they had intentions of not just doing a individual shooting, but most of the time, if they've got a cache of bullets, they had intentions of doing serious damage. And a lot of these, you've got to understand, a lot of these are copycats. And like I said, we don't know if these individuals are doing test runs to find out, is it difficult to get a gun in school? Well, in which case they're finding out it's not. And we don't have answers to that. The police, if they have answers, they're not providing. The school district, if they have answers, they're not providing them. You as a parent have a right to know. And you have a right for the school district, the police, and everybody else that's involved to be transparent with you. After all, these are your loved ones. You've got to demand more. You've got to expect more. Because if, and I hate to say this, if there is a mass shooting in one of our schools, we have to, who are we going to blame? And I'm going to tell you, at the rate we're going right now, look, school just started. School has just basically started in the last less than 30 days. And we've already had 2 people walking into these high schools with weapons. At this rate, I'm going to tell you, and I don't mean to alarm you, I mean to alert you. And I hope you will pay attention. But if something is not done, I will almost guarantee you there will be either an accidental or an intentional school shooting in this city before the school year is over. Like I said, I don't mean to scare you. I don't want to put any fear in your heart. but I want you to be informed, informed about what is going on, and you're not being told everything you need to know. They're not being transparent with you. Basically, what they're saying is, trust us, believe us. You know, ladies and gentlemen, there's a story that I relate to often. Trust, but verify. Okay? Investigate. If you don't, look out for your own little Johnny, your little Mary, your little Janice, your little Richard. Nobody else will. Okay? You heard it here first.